The Government Publishing Office will allow 1/3 of its workforce to work remotely full-time. The policy aims to boost productivity, recruitment, and retention at GPO, GovExec reports. Dan Mielke is Chief Human Capital Officer at the Government Publishing Office. Thanks for joining me, Dan. How many employees are going to be affected by this policy change?
Well, it's 1/3 of our employees, and that's about 500, a little over 500 employees.
And how have they reacted to this news?
They're very enthusiastic. They're very excited about the opportunity. We had a telework policy prior to the pandemic, but the pandemic taught us that there's a lot of things that we can do via telework, and actually made us a lot more comfortable with telework. So we've expanded several options, and those options are what everyone's really excited about.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of the decision-making process. It sounds like it was driven a lot by what you saw during this telework period during the pandemic. Was it also driven by feedback from employees? Were they telling you that this is something they want or need?
Oh, yes, certainly. Our director, Hugh Halpern, did a town hall meeting, virtual town hall meeting, and that was one of the big questions that kept coming up. Since telework has worked during the pandemic, are we going to keep doing that? And, Director Halpern said time and time again, it's working. Yes, we're going to keep doing it. And so that top level leadership support in the agency of both Director Halpern and our Deputy Director, Patricia Collins, has been kind of the keystone that allowed us to do this.
Let's talk about the other 2/3 of the workforce. It sounds like the nature of their jobs means that they're just not able to work remotely.
That's correct. We are the printer and publisher for the federal government. So a lot of our work has to be done in a building. So for example, bookbinders, press persons, even some of our proofreading has to be done in a building. And then of course the distribution of those documents as well. But there's a lot of things that we can do now, and it continues to grow. A majority of our work is moving online. So, the teammates that work in that part of publishing, we're working hard to ensure that we have the systems in place to allow them to continue to telework.
Sure. For the 1/3 that are affected by this, what do you think will be the benefits to the workforce, to the agency?
Well, to the agency and the workforce, so we've definitely heard the quality of life for our teammates has improved with telework. As an unfortunate thing, the pandemic is a very unfortunate thing that kind of forced us into this. But because we were allowed to have these flexibilities in telework, we saw that our teammates could, take care of their family obligations, their community obligations, as well as their work obligations. So it's that quality of life. A majority of our folks that are allowed to telework, that have positions that they can telework in, live in the DC, Baltimore pay locality area. And of course, we all know that's generally comes with a very tough commute to and from the workplace. So we've heard a lot that, not commuting to and from the workplace has really, really improved the quality of life. We've definitely saw an increase in employee engagement. They're very responsive to our customers, very responsive to getting the work done, focused on results.
Have there been any concerns or challenges along the way, things that you had to address to make this work?
Yes. And I would say if you really want to make telework a good option in any federal agency, you really have to address the concerns of the stakeholders. So those are your stakeholders are the managers, the supervisors, and the employees. So you have to really listen, talk to them, and listen to what they have to say and what their concerns are. Making supervisors and managers comfortable using the telework option by coming back to the building was one of the major things that we really wanted to address when developing the policy. So it did take us some time to get our policy right. Is it 100% right? No, we're going to continue to refine it as we see things. But one of the things I would say is don't get bogged down in the nuances of telework in every scenario that could possibly come up, because you just won't get there then. You'll end up kind of sticking with the telework policy you had before the pandemic.
Yeah, it sounds like that's some advice for agencies who may be thinking about this. Are there other kind of takeaways you would share for, agency leaders who are thinking about kind of expanding their policies?
Yes, if telework has worked during the pandemic, figure out exactly what was working and keep it going. If folks, it's going to be very hard to explain to teammates that have done a really good job during the pandemic from a telework location that now they have to return back to the building. And so you really have to consider that. The other part is, I would say, is ensure you get the buy-in of the supervisors and managers, listen to what they have to say, and really try to craft the policy so they feel comfortable giving this option to their teammates.
Thanks so much for joining me, Dan.
Thank you. Really appreciate you having us.